I can't change my ears.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Geek Envy Podcast, episode 8. That's Ocho, or Hachi in other languages, just in case you guys didn't know, but I'm not going to tell you what languages each of them was in, so that's a mystery.
Ocho is Spanish.
Good guess.
Thanks.
But what is up? My name is Joey. I'm your host. We're back 8 episodes in. We got past the unlucky episode 7, where we had like the most technical difficulties I've ever experienced in my entire podcast life, which isn't that long, to be honest. But that was bad, wasn't it, Matt?
It was pretty bad. And it was pretty embarrassing since it was our first guest star as well.
Yeah, we had an awesome guest star. You know, there's a lot of things that didn't go our way. Our third person on the podcast had to, not show up at the last second, which totally ruined the flow of everything.
Maybe Eric's good luck. Maybe we're cursed when he's not around. He's like our talisman.
Shoot.
Wards against the evil.
You replaced me with an Erica, so it was just a gender swap, really.
Yeah, the conversation was a lot better last time. But no, it was we lost connection like so many times. There were storms rolling through Houston, so at one point my Wi-Fi just went down completely, and I was like, "Why?" Everything's everything's underground here.
It was actually flooding down in Texas. All the telephone lines were down.
But we're back. Hopefully, today's episode goes a lot better. There's clear skies in Houston tonight. And most excitingly, Eric is back, coming straight to you from New York City.
Hey.
Or more specifically, Queens, I guess, which isn't, it's still cool.
Yeah, it's still
cool.
New York City.
Yeah, it's legit. But you got to take the last podcast off. I'm assuming you poured yourself a glass of wine, hung out on your rooftop patio as the sun started to set. I'm imagining like a lounge chair with some fake succulents, in pots. And I'm assuming you played your Switch all night long instead of talking games with us.
If only it was that glamorous. I dealt with a wife who had food poisoning and was pretty much throwing up every 2 seconds, a baby that didn't want to go to sleep, and other fun things. So, yeah, if you call that glamorous, I'm pretty sure I had a couple glasses of whiskey to help, but...
What kind of food was it? Do you know what the culprit was?
It was Thai food.
Oh, God.
But you know what? Even in my absence, I was actually... I gave the podcast a full listen. Erica was an excellent co-host to have on.
That's pretty diligent. I would have moused it real quick.
Because that was a long one, too.
Yeah, it was an hour 20, hour 30.
No, talking with Erica was awesome. She had, I can't believe she found out about that Games Festival thing in Tribeca and, went out there on her own. That's pretty hardcore.
Yeah,
I would have been someone come with me, please.
Eric, where were you? You're local.
I didn't even know it was actually happening. The Tribeca Film Festival with video games associated. But this weekend is actually a pretty interesting thing. It's the 5 Points Festival, and it's built around anime and toys. So it's toys, beer garden, smorgasbord. It's a whole bunch of food trucks and other things.
That sounds pretty cool.
That sounds amazing. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you.
We let you back in, just so you know. Matt and I talked about it.
You had a vote? You're going to vote me off the island?
Yep. But of course, we're also back with Matt from North Carolina.
Hello.
How's it going over there?
Pretty good. Happy to be here again. Doesn't feel like it's been 2 weeks yet.
That's true. It's gone by quickly.
That's
but
good.
A lot of good stuff has happened. This is like a really cool month for games, just looking at like the new releases, and some of the stuff we've been playing. And I think I'm gonna try not to spend too much money this month, but that's gonna be hard because I've already spent a good amount of money this month. But let's dive right into what we've been playing. Let's go to you, Matt.
Well, I got the Overwatch bug a bit over the weekend. I've had it a long time and keep hearing talk about it, so I figured I'd play it for a little while and kind of got used to a character and started winning a little bit, and it kind of got fun. So I've been playing that on and off this whole week, which is nice.
So I'm like an Overwatch noob. Is it like Team Fortress, but with like classes more, or like separate heroes? I guess you could say.
I guess I actually never really played Team Fortress, so because it was PC, and I was never really a PC gamer until recently. It's basically just a hero-based shooter. There's objectives. You guys all have a role, and you got to play your role. And if you don't play your role, normally your team loses because it's just chaos. But it's pretty fun. It's kind of like, it reminds me a little bit of Smash Bros. Because you got to like learn each character and their special moves and how to play them and stuff like that, which is fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds cool.
Who'd you pick as your main?
Yeah.
I main Lucio right now, so it's like I play mainly support and healing characters because I find whenever I try to tank or be offense, I do really poorly. So I mainly try to keep my team alive or, set traps and stuff like that. So
I mean,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I just haven't played very much of Overwatch at all, and from all the memes and other things that go around, Lucio is pretty like bottom tier.
This season he's at least in all the, because I kind of googled like who are the best characters and stuff like that. He was up in the top 5, I believe, right now. So
really,
yeah, I mean, or whatever website I was on, I think it was reputable. I forget what it was. It seemed legit. So, but yeah, he's got like a good mix of like mobility and offense and defense. So it's pretty fun to play. So. You have like these songs that he plays that does stuff. So like one song that is like movement, and you can kind of like add a buff to it that cools down. And when people are in a radius of you, they move faster. So if you're going towards an objective as a team, he's good to have on your team because he can like shuttle everyone there quickly. And then you press a button to change the song that he's playing, and that's a healing song. And then you can like kind of like heal people. And then his ultra move is like. Yeah, he's a bard, basically. They're all, like, RPG-type classes, pretty much.
Ah, that's cool.
Yeah. But
that actually sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, the art's pretty cool, and when you get into it, like, the characters are all pretty, like, quirky and funny and really likable. So, I mean, I can see why it's a phenomenon. I'm not, like, so into it that that's all I will ever play, but it's nice to kind of, like, play when I have downtime and don't feel like booting up something really meaty and heavy.
That's cool. What else have you been playing through?
I fired up my old PS2 and have been playing Xenosaga, the first episode.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been having like some RPG fatigue. Like I've been looking forward to a lot of these RPGs like Nier and Persona 5, and while I think they're really good and stuff, they're not scratching the itch for some reason. And so I was thinking about it. I was like, what attracted me to JRPGs back when I originally got into them? And I think it was like that whole like 90s, early 2000s like style when it was not based on anime memes of today, but it was more like the 90s animes that had come out, like Cowboy Bebop and Outlaw Star and all that stuff that I grew up on. So Xenosaga is definitely scratching that itch, that's for sure. So holds up pretty well.
At some point I'm going to get to those. I'm still hoping they'll go PS2 to PS4, but
yeah, I wish I could get some trophies out of it. I was just playing it before this actually, and I ended up dying because my PS2 controller like stopped working, and my guy just started running around in circles and got into a battle, and then all I could press was the X button, and that's all that would work. So now I have to buy a new PS2 controller.
Yeah, actually, given that, I think it's really interesting that a lot of the PS2 RPGs are becoming available for the PS4 via the virtual console. What Final Fantasy 12 is getting that re-release coming up soon. The newly announced Star Ocean Till the End of Time is getting drops. So hopefully we get to Xenosaga 1.
So the creator, what's his name? The Xeno guy he's done all the Xeno games.
I have no idea. I know who you're talking about. I don't know his name.
Yeah, so he did I think it was 2 years ago, he did a Twitter, I think it was a Twitter poll. It might have been on a different forum, but how much interest is there in Xenosaga HD collection? And I heard a little bit of buzz about it for a little bit, and then it just kind of went away, and kind of the consensus was that there wasn't the greatest turnout for it, and so no one's heard anything since.
But did he also work on Xenoblade and Xenoblade X and Chronicles?
I don't know if he worked on Chronicles X or not. I think he did. But he definitely worked on Xenoblade Chronicles, and the new one coming out, he's definitely on that team. He's the head of Monolith, so... Or is it Monolith Soft? I think it's Monolith Soft, yeah.
I don't think they should pay attention to polls. I mean, Dark Cloud, really, polled highly on some list? They just did it because...
Yeah, but Sony owns all those.
Right. So
those
it's
are
easy
all
for them
Sony
to do
publishing.
that.
Every RPG that's come out on the PS2 to PS4 types, they've all been published by Sony. With the exception of Harvest Moon, which is Natsumi. And Star Ocean 3 isn't even PS2 to PS4. It's like at least I don't think it is. I think they said it was in 1080p now and stuff like that. It's like a soft remaster.
Well, they shouldn't poll. They should go ask Sony for the numbers on Dark Cloud 2, and what was it? They put out some that really funny ghost RPG.
Okage?
Yeah, Okage.
Shadow King?
I like that game. I had that game when it launched.
Go find it.
Yeah, I still have it.
Yeah, that was a cool game.
It was like Tim Burton or something.
All right, well, that's cool. You gonna try to play through the trilogy?
Eventually, that's the plan. But I'll probably just play the first one and then take a break, and then when I'm in the mood, play the second one, because I'm gonna burn out if I try to play all three in one go.
Yeah, I was joking earlier that it's 300 hours of his life in cutscenes that he'll be spending.
Yep.
I honestly, whenever a game gets criticism for the cutscenes are so long, I'm always that doesn't sound bad to me. That sounds good. I'm okay with it.
In some games, it's better than having to read bad dialogue.
Right.
Where they're visual novel based games, just give me a cutscene, please, or something. All right, let's move on to you, Eric. What have you been playing the past 2 weeks? What's odd is I don't know if you didn't finish, but I do not see Zelda on your list.
So no, I didn't finish Zelda. I thought you guys were pretty much tired of me, hearing me talk about Zelda. But I did get to Hyrule Castle, so I finished all the Divine Beasts. I've pretty much finished all the main quests up until I now need to fight Calamity Ganon. And I am slowly making my way through. I don't want it to end. But in the meantime, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I actually did buy. I know you guys mentioned last week saying he probably bought it, and yes, you were right, I did. I never owned Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, or I can't even remember the last time I played Mario Kart minus Mario Kart 64. But the game is awesome. It's got about 35 different characters, 32 courses, including all the DLC and all the other things that were on the Wii U, and then a bunch of other kind of deluxe items, deluxe vehicles that came with it, some new costumes for the Mii racers if you want to use your Mii. And I've been having more fun just in a single player mode. I've been trying to find people to play with at work, but everyone says they're too busy, so I end up playing in the cafeteria alone.
What a bunch of jerks.
I know, right? No one wants to race me.
Yeah, they're idiots.
The other game actually bought and I had interest in, but Erica actually kind of moved that interest up the ladder, was Little Nightmares. So I thought the 6th edition, which is like the special edition that comes with the figure, was sold out, but found it on Amazon and grabbed it with my 2-day shipping and had it over the weekend, last weekend, and I think it was Saturday night, pretty much sat down and said, okay, I'm going to finish this. It was a short game, about 4 to 5 hours worth of start to finish. Probably went a little longer, only because I like the exploring and trying to find all the, the lanterns you have to light and all the gnomes you need to hug.
Little gnomes, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk more about that a little later on and go a little deeper into that. But I do want to talk more about Mario Kart 8. I bought Mario Kart this past week. Also, I bought Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS because I never owned it for 3DS, and it's like fun to like play through it here and there and unlock everything. I know Mario Kart 8 has everything unlocked already. So, like, do you care that you're pretty much just it's all open, or would you prefer it like it had everything unlockable?
So the incentive is not there with it being unlocked. I mean, it's kind of like that, like, I'm glad I don't have to run through the entire game and race everyone 50 times over just to unlock different cards, different characters, and different tracks. But with all of those things being locked from the get-go, the only incentive to really play is to, get the trophy for beating the circuits, and there's a few other little things to unlock, like Gold Mario. The only way to get him is to actually beat all the beat every 200cc cup. Yeah, that's really kind of it. So I would almost, it's kind of one of those things of like, I know I personally don't have the time to sit down and kind of unlock every single thing, and so it's good to have at the go. But there's no incentive for me to really play the game other than, the occasional, I want to race, I want to, I'm really interested in it, it's hype at the moment, and if I had people to play with.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
I feel like they messed up the progression in that game.
How so?
Because I don't know if I still have it, but I have it on Wii U, and it's a great game, but the fact that all the unlockables are like weird wheels and stuff, like, I never cared. I almost would have liked it better if it was characters. Am I right about that? You don't unlock characters; they're just all there from the get-go.
In Mario Kart the 8 Deluxe, yes, they're all there from the get-go, and there's 5 Deluxe only characters, which include the Splatoon boy and girl.
Right. I kind of wish it was like Smash Bros. When like start with like 12, and then like there's different things you had to do to unlock them, and that made it fun for me. Like, that was like a tangible reward that's like, oh, we get a whole new character that you can play as.
But even the wheels and the different types of carts and gliders are fairly easy to unlock. You just run the tracks, you get coins, and then they're unlocked.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying you should unlock them the same way. I meant more like how Smash Bros. Each character's unlocked in a different, unique way when you hit like the benchmark of whatever it is that unlocks them.
No, and I think I understood that. I'm just trying to say, I see the argument for it. But I guess it depends on the person too. If they really want to sit down and spend the time to unlock, because in some games, like fighting games, for example, like you said with Smash, is that you'd have to beat like the main story on on hard with X character, and you have to meet X condition, and it could be tiresome. And in cases like this, since it's already a port of an existing game, people just want to be able to pick it up and go.
Yeah, they really had to do this for Mario Kart 8 Wii U owners, right? They really had to tell them, like, we know you're asking, why should I buy this game? And it's like, look, you're buying it, you're getting it portable, you're getting it split screen with take it anywhere functionality, and here's everything, so you don't have to worry about unlocking it. It would have been cool if maybe they gave you that option to like turn everything or lock everything, and then you can go through and unlock it if that's your thing. But
yes, I saw some people on some forums asking about that. Like, they should have given us the option to unlock from the go, or let us unlock things. But
I don't know.
It's kind of
Like,
questionable.
I don't
Yeah,
see that ever working for anyone. Like being like, oh well, I could make it harder for myself by having to unlock everything, and then once you get bored of it, you just switch it. It's like that makes it pointless.
well, it's definitely a debate point, and they did what they did. I think it really works for those people who did own it on Wii U, and now they're glad to have it in this format with everything available. But I think it does kind of give you that sense of like, well, I probably won't play through like every course on every speed or whatever.
don't get me wrong. The game is fun. It was definitely awesome to pick up and play with all the different characters, because each character has a different, I think, like weight class to them. There's like hidden stats that you can go online and look at people comparing like the weight of Metal Mario versus Splatoon Boy, but yeah, it's definitely fun.
That's cool. So yeah, have you been able to try like a split screen match with like the two Joy-Cons?
No, unfortunately, I haven't been able to break it down and hand it to someone else.
Dang it!
But one of the arguments is too that the way the split screen is on the Switch is that rather than it being horizontal, it's vertical.
Right.
And it works for racing, but when it comes to like the new battle modes and everything, I haven't had a chance to actually try it out and see if it's a hindrance or perfectly fine.
Yeah, I'm also wondering how that little controller is going to feel in your hands, because I feel like you haven't even like used the controllers detached, right?
No, you could use it as a regular Joy-Con controller, so you could have it with both Joy-Cons in one hand, or you can use one single Joy-Con. But I end up playing with both Joy-Cons.
Right. Okay, cool. When I get a Switch, that's definitely one game I'm going to want to pick up, because I haven't even played Mario Kart 8 that much on Wii U. I always forget that they added 200 cc's. Like, I don't even know how fast that is or anything.
Actually, one thing we haven't even talked about is the online. Online now exists. I haven't given it a run only because everything I've heard is just people complaining about the red shells and the fact that in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe you can have two items at once. So you can have like two red shells at once, a red shell and a green shell.
So people just store up the red shells and wreak havoc at the end?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh no. Are blue shells still in?
Oh yeah, blue shells are still there.
Oh god. Alright, well thanks for filling us in on what... Yeah, it gets frustrating right at that last lap. Thanks for filling in on what you've been playing. As for myself, I got Little Nightmares also, the 6th edition, and played through that probably like an hour here and there, like 30 minutes here and there over a week. And beat that also, and I'm probably going to go back through again, because there's like a speedrun trophy, and then there's the trophies for unlocking everything, so I haven't done that yet. But yeah, it's a fun little game that I think will be talked about a little bit, and we'll talk about it a little later in today's podcast. And then I got Akiba's Beat in on PS4. My pre-order came with a little plush, very tiny, like keychain sized plush of the like animal humanoid character that's in this game. And did you guys play Akiba's Trip?
I did
as well.
Yeah, I know Matt played a little bit. I really liked Akiba's Trip. It was a fun game, and it didn't like take itself too seriously, but had good humor, and I really liked how Akihabara looked in the game. So with Akiba's Beat, they've switched from whatever engine they were using before to using Unity. It's still based in Akihabara, but it looks graphically it looks a lot different. Combat wise, it's a lot different. Story wise, so far it's different, and I'm not getting too good of a vibe from it so far. Not sure how much I'm gonna like this one, but I think I'm going to stick through at least the first 4 or 5 hours and see how it gets.
I mean, everything I was hearing about Akiba's Beat was that it was nothing like Akiba's Trip. And the fun fact is that Akiba's Trip that we got in the US was Akiba's Trip 2. We never got Akiba's Trip 1 in the US.
Yeah.
But even though it was branded as Akiba's Trip. Anyway, I definitely agree that, Akiba's Trip was a kind of fun, not taking itself serious. You could run around stripping people who were vampires and you were exposing them to light. But what I heard about Akiba's Beat was that it kind of dropped everything that made Akiba's Trip enjoyable. Would you say that's,
That seems entirely accurate as of right now. One of the glaring things that hits you right away is that Akiba and Akiba's Trip looked fun and lively. You heard like advertisements, you heard people talking, you heard people were walking around, even though there was some pop in. It was still really cool. Like it looked like a vibrant, busy place. And in Akiba's Beat, Akiba is very dead. Like there's not, the ads are all static. The NPCs are like essentially just models of NPCs. So like boys are in shades of blue and don't move. They just kind of, it just looks like mannequins, and females are in pink. I think there's another color in green. So nobody really moves or anything. So that kills really the energy of the environment. And the character movement, I think I'm not like too big of a fan of like some games that are made in Unity and how the graphics and like animation look using that. And I kind of noticed that here too. Like when you jump, your character just doesn't fluidly jump. The character like stops and then jumps. So that's a little bit just like something that kind of throws you as you're walking around though. So yeah, a little disappointed so far, but I'll keep playing it. I bought it, so.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's games that we buy and, if it's not keeping our interest, we put it down. Do you think you'll stick with it?
Yeah, but I'll stick with it for a little bit. Matt's going to laugh at me because he always waits for stuff to hit the bargain bin, and he used to be like, I knew this was just going to be cheap, so whatever.
Pre-order slaves.
Yep.
Oh no, I don't pre-order. I'm just saying.
I'll stick with it and see.
I'm just.
Anything else?
To be honest.
So, anything else on our now playing?
Well, I bought Nier. I just haven't played it.
I bought Nier too. Haven't played it either. Did you buy it digitally or physically? I shouldn't have asked.
Yeah, you shouldn't have asked physically.
Hey, we should all play the first portion of Nier by the next podcast because we all have it.
That's a good point. We can have a quick it's like a hot rapid fire discussion on the first hour or two of Nier, or maybe more.
Yeah, probably just cursed us though, and none of us are going to get to it.
None of us are ever going to play this.
No, I played. I never played the first Nier. I kind of did like a walkthrough of half of it. But from what I hear about Automata, it's actually worth the time.
The first Nier is worth the time. It's a great game. It may be the best PS3 game that there is.
You can ride goats.
I don't know, man. My RPG of last generation was still Valkyria Chronicles on PS3.
Okay, that one's up there too. But I think I enjoyed Nier more. But it took a while. You got to get past the first 4 hours.
Can I just say I hate and love that? Like at times I really hate when people are like, nah, bro, you got to get past the first 5 hours. Well, I'm like, do I really need to sit down and invest 5 hours just to like a game?
No, okay, so Nier Games, that developer is super, I'm trying to think of a nice word for weird, but weird.
Out there.
Yeah.
Eccentric.
Eccentric, there you go.
Unique.
He, the point of those games, you have to play through them multiple times to get the full effect and the full story. So, you can't just beat it once. You have to, kind of spoilers, but kind of not, because it did it in the old Nier, and this one's going to emulate that, but even higher, and I haven't even gotten there, so I don't even know what happens. It's not a spoiler. Typically, there's a point in the game that you play past, and then once you beat it, you start from that point. So you don't start from the very beginning, usually. At least that's how Nier was. And then, so you play like a different branching path that does kind of the same stuff, but you see the whole world in a different light. And it makes it all make sense, and it makes it all worth it, if you're into story. So just be prepared for that when you play it. It's not like just like, if you just get to the end and finish, you're probably not going to get the full effect of the game. Because that's not even, it's like the beginning of the end type of a thing.
Right, that in and of itself is just like you had me lost for a minute. You're like, you got to the end, but it's not the end. It's the beginning of the end, but
well, it's
the beginning
like,
of itself.
It's like an ending, but if you play through the next ending, your entire perspective of what just happened and what you think is happening is different.
It's like a novel that keeps writing itself.
Yeah, except there actually is you can get all the endings and then you're actually done.
All right, well, cool. We've hit now playing enough. Let's move on to a segment we haven't done in a while. Just kidding. None of us are playing Persona 5 anymore because game's kind of terrible.
I was like, oh crap, I haven't played that in a while.
Wait, it's terrible?
No, I don't. So, I think Matt and I just like we're at like this similar age where this game's just it's not really written for us anymore.
A game that is about fighting against shitty adults. Like, I am a shitty adult.
Oh no! All this praise about Persona 5 being the next and best and greatest RPG of our generation, or this generation, and
I think it's
still
an
might attack at us.
I just don't think we're of this generation anymore.
I have to be honest too. Like, I think the dungeon combat just like it turns into a real drag. Like, the addition of the sneaking just like slows you down and feels like if there's some enemies where like if you do get ambushed, like you're pretty much screwed, and that can sometimes happen because the sneaking elements aren't working the way they should, because they don't make sneaking games, so they haven't had time to perfect that, like, I don't want to say snappiness, but like just that crispness of the controls for the sneaking.
All right, I didn't mean to bring us down the rabbit hole. I was just surprised that both of you...
No rabbit hole stuff, but yeah, we just... Man, I don't know. Persona 4 and 3, those are great games. But let's hit new releases. This, like I said, May is a pretty awesome month. So Prey came out on May 5th, and I've heard that's pretty good. I've heard, like, it doesn't look so great on PS4 and Xbox One, so you should pick it up on PC if you really want like the best looking and the best performing Prey.
I heard it's supposed to be PS4 Pro enhanced. So if I ever get it, I'll let you know.
All right, that sounds good. I think you'll like it because you like Arcane. So
Dishonored. Yeah, but here's the thing with Arcane games. Is I have never paid more than $30 for an arcade game, and I got Dishonored Game of the Year for like $10, and I got Dishonored 2 for like $30 like 3 months after it came out. So like Prey, probably gonna be $30 in like a month. Just you heard it here first.
Yep. The forecast. That's your bargain bin forecast.
Yes.
Then on May 11th, we had Minecraft out for the Switch. Are you a Minecrafter, Eric?
I am not. I mean, I probably dicked around in it. Yeah, it's been released so many times on so many different consoles. I even have an unopened copy for the Vita that I never even played. But no, I'm not planning on picking up the Switch version.
It has Mario in it.
Yeah, so, it doesn't matter.
Just so you know, inside that unopened Minecraft Vita is a download code.
Oh, I know. And it was for collection purposes. The only way to get the case and artwork to make a part of North America's complete set was that you bought the box.
So does that code expire?
Yeah, I don't know. It's sealed. If anyone wants the code, I'm more than happy to actually hand it over. I feel like
I have it. It's actually really nice on Vita. I was playing with Black Waltz and his wife on Vita. That was cool.
Yeah, well, maybe we could use it as a giveaway.
My wife owns a Vita for only Minecraft. It's the only Vita game she plays.
Like I said, if someone actually listens and would like a copy of Minecraft on the Vita, then hey, let us know.
Oh man, our first giveaway. Yeah, could be expired. We don't know.
We don't know yet. That's the allure. But yeah, that's on that's on Switch now. I think you'll see that. Another bargain bin forecast that'll be on sales sometimes too. So I think you should give it a try on Switch. Probably be really fun as like a pick up and play game.
If I get a Switch, I will be buying Minecraft. Definitely.
Yeah. And then of course we had Akiba's Beat on May 16th, which the jury's still out on there. I've seen like a 7 and an 8 floating around in terms of reviews, but I never know whether or not to trust reviews these days. And then May 16th, that was, earlier this week. I need to know, Eric, Injustice 2 came out. You're our fighting guy. Everything about these new releases, I keep going back to you. Did you get Injustice 2?
I did not. Actually, the funny thing is, I followed, Injustice because of the tournament series like EVO and all the other things, but I didn't pick it up until later on because my wife actually wanted to play it. I did not pick up Injustice 2. I don't know much about it. It seems I was more interested in actually DC's comic book release of Injustice. It was its whole own world with its own storyline that tied into, Superman being the extreme dictator that broke after Joker killed Lois Lane. Spoiler alert. But yeah, the story seems interesting. The gameplay was more based off of Mortal Kombat's model, and I was not a big fan of the Mortal Kombat model of the gameplay.
Okay. But do you think this will be a future pickup?
At a lower price point, probably, yeah. And I'm sure they're going to do a gold edition like they did with Injustice, which was they had all the DLC characters and costumes on a disc at one point.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was weird that they had like such high-priced pre-order ones that had extra characters, and then they're just going to come out with the gold edition later.
Yeah, so. It's a season pass model that a lot of people are picking up, even with Street Fighter V. They had their season pass, and I think they're in season 2 or 3 now with more DLC characters.
It's not even a season pass because one of the characters you can only get if you pre-order it. So you're pretty much like, if you're a big fan, you're either pre-ordering it or you're going to wait for the XL edition.
Was it Darkseid?
I think so, yeah. But like, it's a really weird move. Really weird move for a company.
Yeah. And that makes me still question, like, will it be on the gold edition? Like, probably.
I doubt it's going to be like, this is the only way you could ever get this character ever. Eventually they'll release everything, especially if it goes competitive.
Yeah, I was going to say there's going to be pushback. The community is going to say, like, hey, we see that you only really pushed it on to pre-orders. We want to play him.
Yep. But the other thing about this game, Eric, and maybe you can explain more, is this is like a common thing, but they put this out on iOS also?
Not that I don't think it's a common thing. Well, the first Injustice had its own iOS version that was just kind of like a run of the story, and you pretty much just mashed your screen to win.
Okay.
But I never played it. It wasn't a full like tie-in. It was its own side game.
I think this is might be the full game. I don't know.
I highly doubt that they're going to release a free iOS version or even a $10 version that is the full game.
Maybe I'll look it up and see what it is. But I thought that was weird too, because they were like, play anywhere, and it showed like a iPad and iPhone on the screen. I was like, how are pro fighters going to use this?
They're not. I mean, I saw someone playing it on the bus the other day, and it really was exactly what I described. It's had some of the story going on, and then it got into like the fighting, and it was the person just like mashing and swiping.
Yeah, so it's like Injustice 2 Light or something.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, well then, also on May 16th, yesterday, I guess. We film on Wednesdays usually, so Operation Babel came out for the Vita. I did not pre-order this one, and there's still some of the limited edition available from Nisa, so I don't know. I didn't enjoy Operation Abyss. I couldn't get into it, so still waiting on this one. And anyone got anything to say about this game?
Nope. I never tried Operation Abyss.
Yeah.
Operation Abyss was, I don't know. I had such high hopes from
Yep, it was just
Demon Gaze creators, and then it was just like, wow, this is not Demon Gaze, and so then I stopped playing.
They really figured out how to like mess up the UI and like general environment versus the Demon Gaze. Anyways, let's not get into that. May 19th, which is the Friday of this week, the new Fire Emblem Echoes game is coming out, and I know Black Waltz will get first shot at that, so hopefully he'll be able to tell us a little bit more about that game next podcast, maybe.
Yep.
And May 23rd, another one for you, Eric, Disgaea 5 Complete.
Actually, I already have it.
Did you import?
Yeah, I bought the Japanese copy, and actually,
Can't wait.
it was like 2 months ago. And can I admit something? Is I haven't even touched it.
Well, you've been playing Zelda still, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, you know what it was is that the Japanese version, one of the selling points that I think we talked about in another podcast was that they're completely in English. They have a full English language. All you have to do is put the game in, and the system will put it in the right language based on your region.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
So I've had it sitting there. I had intent to play it, but like you said, I've been stuck on Zelda.
Yep. Well, I every time I see commercials or like ads for Disgaea 5, it makes me want to play it. So at some point, I'm going to pick it up for PS4 and keep playing through it, because I did get the season pass on PS4 for that. So pretty much have the complete edition. But that's out on Switch on May 23rd, and then same day we've got a bunch of games hitting PS4. We've got Star Ocean 3 till the end of time, which is the like Black Waltz was saying, the PS2 semi-remake or facelift.
I don't know.
The PS2 game, right?
Is that a PS2 on PS4 classic, or is it just a remake? I think it's going to be like how Final Fantasy VII was, how it's like an upgraded PS1 game for PS2.
Gotcha.
I would argue it's more like what they're trying to do with Final Fantasy XII release, which is it's a upgraded PS2 game. So it's not a direct PS2 to PS4, but they are redoing the voice acting, they're redoing the music, the levels, kind of like putting an HD filter on it. So the article I read only said 1080p and streaming stuff. And trophies are the only thing that's being added. I was reading that what I mentioned, which was they were redoing kind of like the music levels and voice acting levels. So
they are redoing the voice acting?
But yeah, that's a nice little surprise we're getting. That's very soon too. Like they announced it and they're like, "Here, it's next week, whatever, have it." But that's cool. And then we're also getting a game that we weren't really sure was going to get localized, Utawa Rerumono, Mask of Deception, which is really fun to say, for PS4 and Vita. I'm looking forward to that one because it looks like a cool art style. And I almost imported it when it first released, like I guess like a year ago now or something.
Aren't we getting both?
And then I think we're getting both, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's Mass Deception, and there's like a second part to the game, and we're actually getting. It was a surprise localization. It was almost about a year ago that they were like, "Hey, we're bringing these," and everyone was like, "What?"
Yeah, exactly. But I kind of want to catch up on like this whole like storyline and check out the anime too, maybe before I get into the game. And capping the list of an amazing May is another Samurai Warriors game, which is
What
I'm sure
everyone
everyone's
wanted.
excited about. Just what everyone wanted. Did y'all hear Dynasty Warriors 9 is like open world? What does that mean?
All they did was say it was open world and like post a picture that looks the same as every other Dynasty Warriors game. So no one knows.
I don't know what that means.
Who knows? They're just jumping on the
'Cause, like,
bandwagon.
That's bizarre. It's like Skyrim, but like millions of armies everywhere. I don't know how you do a game like Dynasty Warriors open world.
Yeah, it seems a little much.
Maybe it'll be like instanced. Like when you go somewhere, like it'll open an instance, and then it'll shut off part of the world,
Yeah,
and you'll be stuck
Like all
there
your
to do
fights.
the battle. Yeah.
all your fights take place within like walled-in castles, so you have to like get into the castle, and then everything loads. The rest of the world's just barren, empty Japanese landscape.
Yeah, but we get to see what Lu Bu's up to.
All right. Is there any need for me to be the priest again and take confessions, or do you all feel cleansed?
No, I don't have any real confessions this week. I don't know if I don't think we've ever heard from Matt yet.
I don't know if I have any confessions, to be honest.
I mean, Erica had a confession. I mean, what was it? Final Fantasy VII. She's never even touched.
Yeah,
Oh,
same with
actually-
Zelda.
Well,
Yeah.
No,
well,
she
yeah,
said she never beat it, but I've never beaten Final Fantasy. I've only beaten like 2 Final Fantasies.
well, yeah. She said I stole her Zelda confession, and then that she played through Final Fantasy VII, but her brother got to it first.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I played through it, and my roommate played through it, and I watched him beat it, and I was on to play through it, and I was like, screw this. I already saw the ending.
You know what? I also think that Persona 5's her first Persona, so I think that's a gaming confession.
Well, not true. Oh, I mean, I guess yeah. My first Persona was 3. Although
that's
it's
fine.
arguable that. No, I was just going to say it's arguable that Persona 1 and 2 are completely their own thing.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's a good segue into our Little Nightmares discussion, since
That's
you and I are
true.
the only two who played it.
So you and I are the only two here on this podcast that have played and beaten Little Nightmares. I didn't check how many hours it took for me to beat it. Well, we almost were cursed again, but all is saved, all's well. And it was getting dark there. It was getting a little bit... it was like a bad nightmare,
Are you,
that our
singing,
segue?
are you singing a song here?
but it was just a little nightmare. No big deal. But yeah, back to Little Nightmares. Like I was saying, Eric and I were the only ones to play and beat this of the three of us. So Matt, damn it, you, the one who did not play it. If you do not want to hear any spoilers, we'll warn you beforehand. You can close your ears.
I'm good. I'm okay with spoilers, but you might want to warn the audience.
Yeah,
At least for this
audience,
game, I'm okay with spoilers. I'm not
warning.
okay with spoilers
Yeah.
in general.
This is a short game. We might talk some light spoilers. But let's get into the discussion. First of all, Eric, the controls, they felt really good, right?
Yeah, they were pretty straightforward. It was light a match, jump, hold things, and move.
Yep.
Or light a light.
The only thing I had a little bit of problem with was like the hold. For some reason, I couldn't get used to hold being like R2. I don't know why. And then, so I'd like, instead of holding, I'd jump, or I'd jump and fail to hold because I thought I was holding also. I think that was just me, but
No, it was definitely not just you. I found myself a lot of times hoping that I can switch the controls to put hold as R1. Because holding the Vita and getting used to that kind of control scheme of just having the shoulder bump. But no, I died a few times because of that. And the only issue I had was actually movement. Sometimes it looked like I was walking up or downstairs or something like that. But the way it was presented, it was kind of skewed. So I fell off a lot.
yeah. So, that was a little bit of a weird thing. The stairs were, so this game, for listeners who haven't played it, is a small little horror puzzle platformer, I guess you could say, kind of like, was it Limbo? Pretty much, it really felt like Limbo, or that other, what was that one Vita game that was kind of like black and white and red?
Rose, not Rose in the Twilight. HTOLNY and NICU or whatever it's called.
There was another one too. I can't remember the name of it, but damn it, it's gonna haunt me. But basically, you're taking a character from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen, or reverse, depending on what direction the levels pulling you or pushing you through. And you solve puzzles to get through levels, and this game has about like 4 or 5 different sections, and you just play through that. But yeah, it has that thing where it's like 2D, 3D, so it's a 3D environment, but you're mostly playing on a 2D plane, which is just left and right, but sometimes you do have to go forwards and backwards, or into like, into the Z axis. And there were times where like the stairs, you couldn't really tell like exactly how far back the stairs were, so you would fall a couple of times, or just kind of figuring out where to place yourself in terms of jumps. You're like, well, am I deep enough for this jump? But that's really my only complaint with controls. It did crash on me twice.
Actually, the only time it ever crashed for me was at the end, in which I had to do the final, I guess, boss.
Yeah.
But even then, the final boss was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, the final boss fight. Let's talk about that too. But yeah, crashing just in general, like indie games crash on me, and I feel like that's annoying. Like, I don't have many games crash on me. This one crashed twice, but luckily there's a lot of save points, so it's not too big of an issue. But what do you think about that last? I mean, would you even call that a level? The last area, the last stage? Like, it was extremely short.
I mean, we should probably give a little detail into the story itself without giving too much spoilers. So, Little Nightmares is based around a little girl by the name of Six. And you don't get much information about Six at all. The game itself is very much based around the atmosphere and kind of the storytelling of a little girl who is trying to escape what seems to be her nightmares. But other than that, you really have no information other than the little bits you get going through. So you start in the bottom of a boat, which is called the Maw, M-A-W, and you make your way through, and each stage representing a different part of the boat and your journey through the different nightmares. So there are 5, like you mentioned, and each one was fairly long. I think was, provided enough challenge based on, figuring out what you needed to do, how you need to escape certain, enemies. But you're right, the last stage itself was the shortest and couldn't really be called a stage at all, maybe just kind of like an end cap. But I definitely found it to be, the atmosphere itself, because, I'm trying not to spoil too much, but it's the overseer of the Maw, and I think a lot of the fan theories out there was the woman in the mask, like the geisha. Is she the person you replace, or is she the kind of person you're fighting to escape? But she's the final boss, and you're pretty much just running through the apartment, or her house, her kind of lodging,
her living quarters. Yeah.
I thought it didn't actually put too much of a challenge, because at some point in the earlier game, you can, I don't know if it's a hidden spot, but you can see through a kind of eye, and the eye tells you how to beat her. Did you run into that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so there's one room. I don't know if it's before the chefs or it's after that, but you go into a room with a switch, and it's a big eye on the wall.
Yeah.
And every time
no, go ahead. When I hit the button, it was like a video on the children sleeping in the beds or whatever.
Yeah, if you keep hitting it, it cycles through.
You can keep hitting it? Oh my
Yep.
god.
And
I
actually,
did not.
once it gets to the end and it kind of makes it seem like there's nothing left to do, I exited the room, but I went back in. And I was like, no, that doesn't seem like the end of it. And I found that it shows a picture, and the picture is the item you need to beat the woman at the end.
Huh. That's interesting, because I did kind of feel like that room was supposed to be more valuable than what it was. I was like, this can't just be here for creep factor. That's cool.
Yeah, I found myself a lot of times doing that, going in without reading anything about it and just kind of immersing myself into the story based on other games I've played. I found myself just kind of like, okay, what does this do? We can pick up different things. One of the initial stages is you find someone hanging with a chair underneath them, and I'm like, okay, do I need the chair? Am I supposed to pick up these shoes? Yeah, I find myself spending a lot of time just exploring the stage itself and learning what Six could do, and what, also learning how fragile she was with just, what were the leeches? Were they leeches, or were they something else?
Yeah, that was another kind of unexplained enemy. Like, what is this?
I think it's just to be, another dweller of the maw, another piece of the maw that wasn't fully explained, but the information was there. I found myself, like I said, after I played the game, I jumped on Google and I was like, all right, what does this game mean?
Right.
Who are these characters? Why are these things even here? And the website itself, the Little Six, I guess, not the Little Six, Little Nightmares website, kind of gave information about the characters, but you had to search it out.
Gotcha. I haven't taken a look at the website yet at all. But I did really enjoy, like you're saying, the environment. There's a lot to kind of, like they do a good job of filling the environments with stuff to look at, like whether it's picture frames or it's pieces of clothing that look out of place, or like objects that are placed here and there. I think the most memorable portion of the game for me is the guy with the really long arms.
The janitor.
The janitor. That whole level is like really designed very well. Sticks in your mind. It feels like you're in some creepy, like you're in a really creepy place. It completely feels different than any of the other places in the game. So I thought that was really cool.
So I almost want to ask you about the whole idea of, the game itself, and seeing that it's from the perspective of a little girl. I mean, I think she was 9 based on the website, but I don't remember her age. But, looking at it through that lens, and maybe Matt might have an idea, and hope, I almost want to send the game to him so he could play it, because, he has a daughter as well. The idea of, is this viewed from a child's perspective? Adults being these large monstrosities and everything being twisted out of proportion. Is it a metaphor for something else? I think some of the discussions online with the creators of the game were saying, it's alluding to like child abuse and those things.
Right. Yeah, I think there's a lot of good fan theories out there, and I think it's almost best that there probably isn't like a definitive answer to what's going on in the storyline. Because I feel like this is a game that they could potentially expand on universe-wise. I almost felt like this almost feels like one episode, like from a Telltale game, just like where's the rest of it, or is there any more coming? But yeah, I think you do get that sense that there's a sense of like these bigger people are dangerous, and that's a pretty good metaphor to call out, saying that this is a huge metaphor for being a child and having adults kind of swallow you up. Maybe it's a little too deep for game designers. I don't know. Maybe. But it's a cool theory, yeah.
Well, I think Erica mentioned it too, and one thing that I'm interested in picking up is that they're supposed to be releasing a limited run of comic book issues, maybe like a 5-part series that's supposed to go into further detail about Six and the Maw. I don't know when that's scheduled to release. I'm I'm interested in picking it up only because of my interest in finishing the game and kind of seeing like, okay, what did this all mean? What is it supposed to mean? Is it supposed to be something more? Is there continuation to the ending? There's a lot of unanswered questions that I had.
And there's also this kind of unanswered question, and I think there's probably theories out there, but I haven't read it. But I didn't really get a sense that. So there's these gnomes that you can find throughout the game, throughout each level, and you can hug them, which was cool because I saw these gnomes running around. I was like, I'm gonna have to fight this thing when I first saw it, and I came up to it and tried to grab it, and she immediately hugs it, and I was like, oh, that's like a really cool element added to the game. But I don't get a sense that the gnomes are necessarily the same as her.
Some of the discussion was that the gnomes were kids that kind of escaped captivity and ended up like devolving into something else, or they existed on the mall before they took it over. So again, there's a lot of things that are unanswered, and they're interesting in and of themselves. But I just wish I had a little bit more to go on.
Agreed. And there's like I was saying, there's a lot of cool little elements that were added to the game that make you do-ish. They expanded on it, and maybe they will. And I think this was also like a good price point to like have people pick it up and try it. Like they didn't try to sell it for like $60 or so they came in at a good price, and
I think
it was worth it.
I think if they shot above the price point that they're at now, there would have been kind of pushback. People are going to finish the game and go, it only took me 5 hours. Why did I end up paying this much? But yeah, I think what was the price point anyway? It was $30 for the 6th edition, or
yep.
$25 for the regular.
I believe so. Yeah, $35 for the 6th edition. And that's not including the Amazon discount if you have Prime.
Yeah, I think in total after that it came out to like $30 flat.
Yep, so really good game. There's also one point, I think after I beat the janitor's level, where you kind of get out of the level and you're just hopping over these like clothing bins. Like it looks really creepy, but you just feel like this sense of achievement after you get through that, and like you just feel like after that you really feel like you have the controls down. And I kind of felt like I was ready for the rest of the game.
And speaking of achievements, I know you mentioned earlier that there's one for kind of speedrunning the game, and I know we never really talk about like trophies and achievements. I mean, I never found myself to be like a trophy hunter, but I feel like the achievements for this game are almost impossible. I say this because the way the trophies are listed for PlayStation is that they don't tell you what you have to do. They kind of just give a small storyline. Like if you knew what was on this bed, you would probably run away. And one of them is for jumping on the bed. But the one achievement you were referring to is that you have to beat the game in under, I think Erica mentioned it too, is in under 2 hours without dying. And that is fucking impossible given the controls and how often I fell. And, even with the janitor, trying to figure that out, I feel the game is very unforgiving. Yeah.
I think I'll be interested in giving it a try and like timing myself and seeing how off the mark I am. I'm like, oh, okay, this took me 4 hours. Great. I only have to cut down, my timing by 50%, which would be impossible. I think it doesn't have a platinum. It doesn't have a huge set of trophies. So if anything, it'll be cool to watch on YouTube someone like do this in under 2 hours. But yeah, the game it is like brutal. Like I did die a lot on just on bad jumps really. And there were times where I was like, I wonder if she can take a jump from this high. And like, nope. So
I think my most frustrating part was the fox's den. Is that what they called it? With the all the people eating, which you had to get up on a table and you had to avoid people grabbing at you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I got lucky going through that because I got through it like the first time completely fine and then died later on. And then like the next 2 times I tried to go through that, like I died 3 times in a row.
Yeah, I was at controller throwing point.
But it didn't make me like it didn't make me frustrated enough to just kind of walk away from it. You still kind of feel like you can get through it.
Very true. And, you know, speaking from someone, you know, we've constantly joked about, like, how we have no time, probably due to age and responsibility, but it was, I think I started at, like, 10 p.m. on Saturday and finished around 2 a.m. in the morning, so, like, a good 4 to 5 hours. It definitely easy enough to get through in one sitting, worth playing through again if you want to get that, you know, pick up the last of the gnomes you need to hug and lanterns you need to light.
Yeah, it's really refreshing to get a game this short and this good. It kind of makes me want to go try out like Inside, which I've also heard is really good, and to maybe try to finish Limbo at some point, since I kind of always try to get through that but end up putting it down.
I would say do it. Limbo was actually just like a 2-hour game at best.
Yeah, I've heard it's good, and it plays well on Vita. So, but anyways, anything else we want to say about Little Nightmares? The ending was really cool, I thought. The whole, like, ending cinematic of 6, Six's final walk
through the doors.
Yeah.
Without giving too much away. Like I said, the only thing is that it ended and left me with more questions. It was a good closure, but again, it left me with more questions because I wanted to know what did it mean, you know?
Right. Yeah, that'd be my biggest complaint too, especially after the credits roll and they give you that final scene there. You're like, come on.
Just what a little bit more.
Yep. But yeah, Matt, you should check this out if you get a chance.
I may.
Don't say bargain bin. Don't say bargain bin.
Bargain bin. Or free from one of you guys. Borrowed.
Maybe I'll send it along with the PS2.
Oh, dear God.
I'll put that in the disk drive of the PS2.
Alright, I'm not promising to make time for this one yet.
You don't need to make time. You need 4 hours. There you go. One Saturday night.
4 hours is a lot of time.
You can just do like 30 minutes a day. That's what I did.
Just put the family down. Go, tell them to go to sleep. That's what I did.
Yeah, but I got a 60-hour RPG to beat, and that's only episode 1.
Well, you need a break.
Right.
40 hours in, you'll need a break from Xenosaga.
I'll try it out.
But guys, guess what's coming closer and closer? It's E3 time again next month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to talk about Xbox. Like, what do you guys expect from Xbox this time?
Don't care.
Kind of equal sentiments, really. They have to. I mean, they're lower than Nintendo this time around, which is
amazing. Right?
Well, I mean, they're kind of lower.
No, they really have nothing. What are they going to come out with, the Scorpio? They're going to talk more about how great the system is? I
mean, they're just lower they have a bigger install base, so they're lower in terms of, like, hype for this E3. I'll give you that.
But
Switch is still a novelty.
Is there anything on the Microsoft side that can make you guys say, it's time to get an Xbox One?
Yeah, if Miss Walker announces an RPG for it, I will buy an Xbox One.
What if it's like Akiba's Beat for Xbox One?
No, I said if Mist Walker.
Oh,
they're
okay.
the ones that did the good RPGs on Xbox 360. That's the reason I bought one. It was for Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey, and it was worth it.
What are they doing now?
They're sitting around with their thumbs up their butts. No, actually, no, they do have something. Hold on.
I mean, what about you, Eric? Can they do anything?
While Matt's looking that up, I've got to say no. Only because I know that they've done backwards compatibility with most of the 360 library. My 360 still works. I mean, it's been in a box since I moved into this apartment, and I haven't plugged it in, but, you know, there's nothing that's appealing to me. There's nothing that stands out, and yeah, you can have a new RPG that's possibly exclusive to the Xbox One, but I don't think they have system sellers. I don't think they're going to have that game that's going to really push me and go like, oh shit, I need to go out and buy it. I mean, the PS4 was an extension of like the PS3 with like its greatness, and there was games that I was like, okay, I need to get a PS3 to play. I don't feel that way with the Xbox.
Yeah, I also feel like I'm in too deep with the...
What?
Are there? I mean, yeah, there's a few.
Halo 5?
Yeah, if you're a Halo fan or one of the Microsoft
Gears
fans,
of War? Come on, man.
yeah, okay, you and I aren't that into those games. I enjoy Halo occasionally. I won't buy a system for it. But there are people who, those are their favorite games, and they'll buy one for it.
I mean, true. I mean, the same could be said for like FIFA. People who bought PlayStation 4s for FIFA, but I'm not
FIFA comes out on every system, though.
Regardless, I think, people who like the Halo series and stuff like that have probably already bought an Xbox One at this point. So what does Xbox do now to sell the Scorpio and to kind of get people back into the fold when, like, I know my backlog on PS4 is so deep that I literally don't have time for an Xbox. Like, I wouldn't mind having an Xbox One still to like play Xbox 360 games, but like I'd rather be playing my PS4 games at this point.
Yeah, Scorpio is going to be like, once it comes out, it'll just be like the PS4 Pro. It'll be like a niche product for those who have a 4K TV and feel like getting the higher model.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which, I mean, I bought into it, so.
Well, maybe Microsoft will surprise us all. We'll see in about a month. What about Nintendo? What are you looking for from them, Eric?
Well, Nintendo's not even they're not even going to do an E3 presentation. They're doing a Nintendo Direct.
They're doing tree houses and stuff, though.
Yeah, they're tree houses and Direct, but I'm looking forward. I even have like a Nintendo Switch bingo sheet, hoping to get certain things, but for Nintendo to win me over, if we're talking about things to win over, I mean, we already know they're going to talk about Splatoon 2. We already know they're going to talk about Mario Odyssey. I think the two...
ARMS. Well, I guess ARMS will be out.
Well, ARMS comes out, like, I think the week after, so they're definitely going to do, like, a quick, like, don't forget ARMS comes out.
Yeah.
But I think the things that will need to win me over, like the 2 or 3 major things that I'm actually not just winning me over, but hoping for, is Virtual Console. I'm hoping that they talk about GameCube release on Virtual Console, which would be fantastic.
Okay.
What was my second item? Xenoblade 2.
That's right. Forgot about that one already.
So, Xenoblade 2 is more of an actual follow-up to Xenoblade Chronicles, and is not a follow-up to X. X was its own kind of standalone story, but Xenoblade 2 is something that I'm hoping for. And
that's cool.
I mean, that's really kind of it. I think that they will win over the majority of anyone who's looking for something if they talk about a Virtual Console release of GameCube items.
Yeah, that'd be a big draw. I don't own a Switch, and I really don't see buying one anytime soon, unless like June hits and Nintendo's doing all these tree houses, and we start getting some like Atlas games on there, like Etrian Odyssey, and like some Nisa games on there. Like, I think that'll pull me over more. I know Nisa's putting like another Toho game on Switch, but I don't care too much about Toho. But yeah, I think I'd really want some, like, I want to know if the 3DS, if the franchises on the 3DS are going to have life over on the Switch or not, or if they're going to try to keep 3DS around without the 3D for like as long as they can.
I mean, I don't know. Supposedly they are. They still have games coming out. There's an RPG coming out.
Yeah, but they did the same thing with the DSi. I think we talked about this too. Is that they they were like, yeah, we're going to support the DSi, and it's going to be a companion piece to the 3DS. And then, 2-3 months later, like, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, but it's been more than that, and Fire Emblem just came out. There's a Pikmin game coming out. There's, what is that? There's another RPG coming out that's Nintendo published. It has, like, weird anthropomorphic animal characters or something.
Well, no, they're also doing the Radiant Historia re-release on the 3DS.
Yeah, but that's not Nintendo. It's by Nintendo.
Either way, I think they had these things planned already, and they weren't kind of banking on how well the Switch was going to do. But given the success of the Switch so far, I think they're really going to start pulling focus from the 3DS and like end its life cycle.
All right. Well, I just want someone to tell me.
It's Ever Oasis. Also, there's a Mario Party game coming out.
Which makes no sense. I think it would make more sense on the 3D.
It would.
On the Switch.
Yeah. That's
but Mario Party
the
has
type
had a
of
life
game you put on the Switch.
It's had a life on DS consoles before, and it's done well.
All right. What about you, Matt? What makes you finally... I mean, are you just waiting to pull the trigger on a Switch, or is there something Nintendo can show you that makes you pull that a little earlier?
If I see it in a store and I have the money, I'd probably buy it. But I'm not going out of my way to buy it.
Okay. So you're kind of sold already. Anyway.
I mean, I want to play Zelda, so I'll probably get
it. Buy it on Wii U.
I don't want to play it on Wii U. Wii U, like, sucks. Honestly,
it's not that bad.
Yeah, it is. Like, every time I pick up that Fisher-Price controller, I just, like, hate it. Ouch. Like, I tried it recently because I tried to get back into
the Switch is a Fisher-Price controller, too.
Well, it looks a little more sleek and, like, it's like holding a phone instead of, like, this clunky, I don't know.
All right. We're all sold by Sony already, but are y'all expecting any surprises from them during this E3?
I've really got no expectations. I mean, I hold Sony at no high point or low point. I'm pretty much going in like, all right, well, if they got something cool coming out, cool.
I feel like there might be some new games announced, because there's a lot of studios that just released really big games, like big Sony studios, and we haven't heard anything about new stuff coming. Like Naughty Dog. I mean, they have that new, like, kind of offshoot game for Uncharted, but nothing there. Who are the guys that Guerrilla Games? They just put out Horizon Zero Dawn, but, like, what else are they doing now? And then, what's the company that did Deformers and The Order? Because Deformers is out now, so they're freed up too.
On that, I'm expecting them to play it pretty safe. They have the PS4 Pro that they launched. They're probably going to display a bunch of either upgrades or games that are going to take advantage of that. They're going to maybe give us one new IP. They're going to give us a refresh of some other ones. But otherwise, they're going to play it safe, probably.
What about their big ace in the hole, PlayStation VR?
You mean VR piece of shit? I mean, that's going to flop harder than the Vita did.
Did you see the new VR shooter
stuff?
It's out this week. The new one. It's like a VR shooter on Mars. Like, the box is huge. I saw it at Target the other day. It's on the end cap right now. Like, where they showcase.
Does it come with the VR in it? Or is
it comes with like a giant like gun thing. I don't know. You use guns. Looks kind of cool.
But yeah, I don't know what to expect from Sony. I feel like they've got to have something unique planned, and maybe it's just killer games again. I feel like we will see PlayStation VR at some point, maybe like in terms of what you can do with it educationally, kind of like what Microsoft always tries to do with, like, what's its like VR thing? I forget.
They have a couple. They have like HoloLens.
Yeah, HoloLens.
They have another one. I think they're behind one of the two big ones.
Yeah. So
yeah, who knows?
I mean, maybe they'll try to bolster PlayStation Now a little bit, since Xbox has that new plan for all of its library.
No one wants to stream games.
Nope.
But other than that, I'm not really sure. I feel like it is going to be a quiet E3 for the most part, which is strange. But I guess What happens when you're in the middle of a console's life?
Legend of Dragoon 2.
All right.
It's going to be announced at E3.
I'm sure. Obviously, EA will do its thing, and Ubisoft will do their thing.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed Origins. It's going to be in Egypt. No, seriously, that's the rumor.
What about Far Cry 5, I guess, got announced, so they'll probably show off a trailer there, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's going to be that and the new Assassin's Creed game, which actually, the rumors that the new Assassin's Creed is going to be some sort of reboot because it's been kind of a lot longer than usual for Ubisoft between Assassin's Creed games. Because the last one was Syndicate, and that was like 2 years ago. Normally it's like one or two a year.
Well, yeah, they were pushing them out way too often. People are getting fatigue.
Yeah, well, what people are saying is that it's going to be like new mechanics maybe and new other stuff. So I'm okay with that because that's the one thing that doesn't allow me to get into those games is the mechanics are so repetitive and the controls are terrible.
Okay, and last but not least, expecting anything from Bethesda?
No, are they even working on it?
No, yeah, they released that image that was like a theme park drawing of all their IPs, and two of them said under construction, and then there was the date of what E3 would be. So the rumors that there's going to be two new... Yeah, like... It's like a drawing of like a fake theme park, and then there are like if you look at the images, like each you know how theme parks like if you go to like Universal Studios or Disney World, they each have their own little like worlds, you know, like at Universal Studios there's like Marvel World and there's like Jurassic Park World and Dr. Seuss. It's like that, but they were doing it with their IPs. So there was like an area that's clearly Fallout and an area that's Elder Scrolls and an area that's like Arcane stuff. And they had two areas that looked like they were being still built, and it said under construction. And then at the bottom, it said like the date of E3, see you there. So the idea is there's two new things coming, possibly.
That's the most what the fuck thing I've ever heard. Wait, so is this theme park a metaphor for games they're working on?
I mean, it was just like the worlds of Bethesda type of a thing.
Okay, so they're not really making a theme park game.
No. It was an image. It was
Gotcha.
like...
It's a metaphor. I get it. I was like, what are you talking about?
I have to post it so that you can see it. Get ready for this.
It sounds bizarre.
Just get ready for it, alright? It says Bethesda Land.
This is a terrible drawing.
Well, just look at it. So, look, top right, you got Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom left is Dishonored.
Bottom left.
Middle is Fallout, like right when you walk in. And then see the Pardon Our Dust in the bottom right, and then the top left. Under construction. And then the full thing...
What's the far right?
That is... What is that? I think it's Prey. It must be Prey. No, the thing on the left is Prey. I don't know. Are you guys still there?
At the very top?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
The very top is Skyrim.
What's the thing at the top? Oh, right. Okay, well, I guess Bethesda's going to have two surprise announcements. Good for them.
Supposedly. Or maybe they're just saying that they're always working on new stuff and there's no new announcement. Who knows?
Yeah.
So this image I sent you guys doesn't have the E3 information at the bottom, but the one that they originally, like, I think they tweeted it or something, did.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, anything you guys want to bring up before we close out?
Nothing on my end.
All right, well, thanks for sharing all of your gaming experiences. This podcast is made possible thanks to Zencaster. You can find us online at geekenvyblog.wordpress.com. You can find this podcast on SoundCloud. Eric, where can we find you on the web?
Twitter and Instagram at Eric the Intern.
And Black Waltz?
At Black Waltz No 3. on Twitter.
And of course, on Twitter. You can find me at Me in the Stereo on Twitter and at Geek Stereo on Instagram. If you've got any comments, suggestions, or questions for us, or if you want to try to win Eric's expired code for Minecraft on the Vita, send us an email at askgeekenvy@gmail.com. We'll be back in 2 weeks to talk a little bit more about what we've been doing and some of the new releases that have come out since then. So we'll see you then. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening. Say bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Say bye, Matt.